Eora, a world where mortals live, die, and are reborn through the turning of the wheel. The cycle of reincarnation watched over by the gods, and made possible through pillars of a mystical substance known as Audra. 5 years ago, you traveled from your home to the Deerwood, a nation that had waged war against the incarnated god of light, Eothas, resulting in his destruction. The country suffered from a plague of hollowborn, infants born without souls, that many believed was punishment for killing a god. In an ancient, secluded ruin, you witnessed a secret ritual that inadvertently transformed you into a watcher. One who can see and speak with souls. The ritual also gave you horrible visions, waking nightmares of a past life that threatened your sanity. To put them to rest, you pursued the man who had led the ritual, a seemingly immortal agent of the gods, known as Theos Ix Arcanon. With divine assistance, you confronted and defeated Theos, ending your visions and resolving the Hollowborn crisis. In so doing, you also learned the great secret that Theos had protected. That the ancient empire of Anguith had transformed themselves into gods. Your visions finally put to rest, you retired to the castle of Cadnua, built atop a massive statue of pure Audra, where you ruled in relative peace and prosperity.
Made a nice story. You fixing up that old keep? Lifting the curse? Must have told it 100 times. But something got to gnawing at me. Thinking the spirits there weren't really at rest. That maybe the gods weren't finished with us. God came back. He would forgive us. Last the trouble with dreams. Sooner or later, we all have to wake up.
So you wake to a sleepless world, the in-between of life and death. Follow your memories. You have been here before.
You have seen past the shroud. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
A watcher sees souls, knows their pasts, and the souls see them back.
A dubious honor, inheriting a fortress both broken and cursed.
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked?
The gods aren't real, but something else entirely. Something created by people.
And did you ever consider that these were things you were never meant to understand? That their comprehension is beyond you?
them decide what to do.
The wheel has turned again, Watcher. Come.
An aged dwarf shares this strange floating platform with you. His face is creased by so many wrinkles that his features lie buried amid shadowy pockets of skin. Still, the dwarf's well-practiced habits have left telltale tracks of a welcoming rictus across his visage. You can see his smile coming before it blooms, reshaping the dwarf's face from a hanging sack of flesh into something resembling an oddly carved, merry gourd, replete with unhealthy bumps and discolored splotches.
Sit, please. Thank you for joining us, Watcher of Cadnua.
The gaunt woman seated at the table is clad in time-worn black armor that seems too massive for her to move in. A pale, slender neck rises from the gorget, topped by a hollow face. The milky skin stretched across it is delicate and translucent, like parchment that has been scraped clean too many times. She is preoccupied with the arrangement of cards on the table between you. With each movement, her armor squeaks and groans as though bearing an incredible weight. She places a final card, gives a nod of satisfaction, and raises her eyes to meet yours.
Your brush with the divine has drained you of your powers, fractured your memories. Look upon these cards. They represent the courses of your life. You alone know best how they flowed. Arrange them to fit what you remember. Does everything appear to be in order? Good. Welcome to the Beyond. I am Bareth. One half, anyway.
She points a finger in the direction of the dwarf who led you here. Though the movement is slight, her gauntlet squeaks like a rusty hinge. The dwarf's rictus returns as he nods in the woman's direction.
Tell me, do you remember when we last met?
She places a card on the table showing a tall tower. The gods' constellations are arrayed around it in the sky. You remember now. The Hall of Stars in Twin Elms, where you spoke with the gods.
You came to that tower seeking our aid. You chose to pledge your services to other gods. Still, a pledge unmade stands fairer in this court than a pledge broken.
She places a card in the middle of the arrangement. A bell tower with no bell. Her fingertips slowly drag away from the card, faintly creaking as they retreat across the table.
You had need of the gods once before. Now it seems we have need of you. The being that occupied Odnua's statue beneath your castle was the dead god, Eothas. Of this we are certain. What we do not know is what his intentions are. Though Eothas stole a large fragment of your soul, you were strong enough to survive the onslaught and enter the in-between. You and he are still connected. He has chosen a body made of living Audra, perfused with the power of thousands of souls, including yours. It should be little difficulty for an experienced watcher to find him. No, but neither is your body truly alive. Your lungs draw breath, your heart pumps blood, but your flesh is as soulless as a hollowborn. That is, until I return you.
She delicately places a card upright on the table. The art depicts souls flowing out of a pillar of Audra.
I know. It is my business to know. 322 in Cadnua and your surrounding lands. Their souls remain in Eothas still. You have the power to save them. Serve me and I will return you to your body. Or don't, and return to the wheel. Good. Before you return to Eora as my herald, you must remember who you were. The last whisper of life in death.
For a moment, the sockets of her eyes darken, leaving the pits of a death's head gazing out at you.
When you can picture your own face, the Beyond will lead you back to your own kind, to the world of mortals. Go forth now, Watcher, as my herald. Know that I do not give you this title lightly. When the time comes, you will have the power to reveal the souls that cling to you, to open the gateway from the in-between to the waking world. Find Eothas. Learn his plans. When I have cause to talk to you, I will summon you.
With a quick gesture of her hand, you feel a sharp pain in what would be your chest. The pain continues, intruding deeper into your soul. Looking down, you see a small lump of darkness roiling within you. The darkness lingers there, but the pain abates and fades entirely within the span of a few seconds.
A chime. Do not fear, Herald. It will not harm you unless you choose to cross me. I trust it will not come to that.
Her gauntleted hand gestures to the dwarf, hovering nearby. The dwarf nods, contorts his face with his odd smile, and gestures to a new door. The return to your body feels like waking after a fitful drunken sleep. The rocking of the ship sends pain jolting through your limbs. Crashing waves hammer inside your skull. Adair watches over your body with a glazed look, taking long, even tokes from his pipe. At the first movement of your chest, he starts. His gasp, mid-puff, sends him coughing and straining for breath.
No, there's no way. You're awake. What are you doing awake? How are you feeling? Alive's a big improvement.
I hate to cast a pall over your recovery, but I'm afraid I have some bad news for you.
The voice echoes from inside the bust. The remains of the steward of Cadnua.
Cadnua has been destroyed. Eothas possessed the statue of Maros Nua and rose from the ground, consuming the souls of all nearby. It is only by the exceptional strength of your soul that you survived. And even then, just barely. The further Eothas withdrew, the weaker you became. We chartered this ship and followed him to the Deadfire archipelago. I know not how, but it seems he has retained a piece of your soul, and proximity to it has brought you back.
How could you know all that? You've been faking on us.
He pokes at your shoulder with one finger.
Misfortune's brewing topside. Magrans fires the captain stirs.
An older man with ale-sour breath rubs his bloodshot eyes and stares at you.
Hengrim, the smell of drink on your breath could wake the very dead. Now what's this about?
Pirates. They're demanding parley with you, Captain.
I know this is asking a lot, but you better arm yourself and get on deck. Should be some gear in there.
He indicates a nearby wardrobe.
All right, now make some use of it.
The pirates of Deadfire are notorious. I suggest you deal with them quickly.
Well, what have we here? A little sloop? Lost and alone in the storm? I'll be taking your ship now, if you don't mind. And especially if you do.
Well, at least he asked.
I am a gentleman of fortune. Give her up easy, and I'll see you get a swift death. It'll be bloody and agonizing, sure. But at least it'll be quick.
And then he's going to wear his breeches on his head and dance for us? Did I hear that right?
Aye, but the breeches are gonna be stitched from your skin. You got a smart mouth on ya. Careful. That'll get you killed faster than any blade. Listen up, mates. I'm off to spear me a bigger fish. One with sharper teeth like. I'm trusting you lot not to cock this up. Don't damage the sloop when you take it. Play with the crew if you'd like, but don't bring me any prisoners. None that are alive.
You heard, Benwith! Aft!
You've been getting a lot of sleep so far on this trip. I'd have woke you, but you look so peaceful with your face in the sand. If you're worried about the ship, you can stop worrying. It's wrecked right over there. So far, it's just you and me and the chair lady over there.
It's a relief to see you awake, my lord. I worried you were in for another long sleep.
Shh. It's right behind you.
Unfortunately, I believe we'll be needing the Defiant yet. Unless you mean to settle down on the island for good.
Well, there's a thought. Let's see about the other survivors. And somehow we gotta get the ship repaired. I don't want to be paddling out of here on a salvage raft.
For now, I'd say your best bet is to find some sign of civilization. If nothing else, we may be able to hire on a shipwright. My lord, if it is not too taxing, could you explain how it came to pass that you were returned to us?
Sure. I suppose if any mission could be considered special, it'd have to be this one.
A perilous endeavor indeed. Castle or no castle, you are still my lord, and I will aid you to the best of my ability.
Well, I suppose we better get a move on.
So many souls lost. Surely someone else survived.
So...
Help! Somebody! From Blanca!
As you like. Oh? I shall.
looking better, Casita. That, or I'm worse off than I thought. It's my leg, Matico. It hurts even worse than it looks. I wasn't planning on going for a run, Casita. It still hurts, but I can manage from here. Agrasima, have you found any of the others yet? I'll start a fire. If any of the others are out there, hopefully they'll see it and turn up.
Yes, certainly. I shall make it so. Yes? Yes? Trouble.
Suey! Suey!
Indeed.
There must be other survivors out there.
Here, my flame burns yet. Is that ye? You woke just in time for the fun. Fighting off motherless raiders one moment, flung into the freezing depths of Ondra's bosom the next. Aye, Magran learns us poor bastards that a little excitement's good for the heart. Some others might think that blasphemy. But when Magran hears it, Captain, oh, she knows you're filled with a fire.
Can we go back on the ship now?
That's unkind. You're the one decided to pluck this wean from the wilds of Aer Glanfith. Blame that stone steward of yours for bringing the furry maid along.
Uncle Engram, you promised me ale.
Later, sweetie. Uncle Engram's thirsty too.
Yes, I shall.
Watcher, over here. It is good to see you well, Watcher. I believe the Boers were hoping for easy meat. The bosun, Beadle, is in that cave over there. Ran in after a boar. Stubborn old dwarf. I will make for the campfire. I must get this pistol cleaned if it's going to be of any use. Be careful.
What do you need? Well, don't see why not. Hey, I guess we're not the first to head this way.
I shall make it so. trouble?
Grave. La Thirlim.
Of course.
As you
Hey, watch out.
Grave. La Thirlim.
Leave it to me.
I shall. So.
Sorry, friend. I can't. Well, as long as I don't get caught. Guess that wasn't so hard.
As you like.
Hey, watch out.
Grave. La Thirlim. Let us end this.
What's a metal killing machine doing out here by himself in a cave anyway? Collecting his thoughts?
I shall make it so.
That R looks about as good. Smells at this point.
Damned pirates! Audra, take your scabrous souls for fish food.
Beadle! Still alive and calling everybody scabrous, I see. Well, now we got a bosun. Just need a boat.
A dare. And I see that corpse we've been carting around is looking a slight more sprightly. Good to see the two of you, but mind your step. I've got myself in a spot of trouble. Been trying to find a way past without losing a leg or getting a face full of poison. Clever, that. No. It's a good thing none of them were of the exploding variety. Elding, it's just bats and stinking corpses in this cave. You find anyone else? Then I'll head that way myself. See you on the beach, Captain.
Yeah? Of course.
Looks like trouble.
That order's too tall.
It's not right.
Hey.
As you like.
What do you need? Uh-huh. Yeah?
Grave.
I'm on it.
I shall make it so.
Could be a fight.
As you like, fear not.
There's nothing for miles.
I'll boil up some water. We'll have a spy at that leg of yours.
Should have seen me with that barrel, Engrim. I showed it was boss.
Magrin gives some of us
Theodore
simpler
said you had to bail
trials
him
than
out of
others.
trouble. Diverus? Was he crying? You can tell me.
Oh, quiet! We're under a damn barrel. What a mess. We'll be needing help getting the Defiant off the ground. We got turned around in that storm. Hard to be sure just where we are. Not much chance of us moving the ship on our own, but we're in charted waters. There's bound to be a town nearby.
Better see what that crowd's about.
What if the giant comes this way?
Please, everyone stay calm. Please, everyone remain calm. I assure you I will do everything in my power to get you the answers you need. Our friends among the Huana
have offered you hospitality and safety from the storms.
Yes, I think we are all keenly aware of the debt of gratitude we owe to the...
I have personally seen to the safety of your homes. Now you will do the same for our families.
What about our families?
What about the ships? How are we supposed to feed ourselves?
If everyone would...
It's one of the pirates.
Everyone stay calm. I think it's clear our guest is nothing of the sort. 2 of my guards reported a ship flying deerwood in colors, fallen prey to a private vessel. That would be your ship, I assume.
That would make him lucky. Your own vessels do not usually fare so well.
Quite. Per complank, everyone, forgive me. I believe this matter requires my attention. You have my word that I will keep you apprised of any changes. Especially you, Mr. Ikawa.
Do not flatter me with Valian titles. You are distracted with your newcomer and wish me gone. But I will not go far, Governor Clario.
Grade. As for you, stranger, let us speak at my estate. We'll discuss your predicament.
Accept the light, and you shall be redeemed.
Se futito! Maudicchio! I did not sign up to be burned!
Idling, that's what. Making ourselves feel all requited. We just missed one of the biggest reapings of all time. What about the souls that need us?
Do not push me on this, you wayward child. You'd leave the living forlorn to service the dead?
Here, I'll light them all at once. Now that we're right with our God, can we please see about helping the people I dreamed died? Those souls ain't gonna reap themselves. I'm guessing you're not here for the baptism. I knew it! Gon's been calling me here. Left the breadcrumbs in my dreams. I need to get inland. If you're going, I could help you. Swear on my soul. There are souls needing their last rites. I ought to shine them the light, else they might get lost.
Enough nonsense, Choti. No one knows if anyone's even died. You've no business going in there, risking your own safety, risking our mission.
Winglith, you guide the living and I guide the dead. Gon bids it and I dreamed it. Leave it be. We all serve our purposes. So what's yours? So you can see souls? That's a handy talent to have. I know my harvesting would benefit from it. And here you are, following my God. Watcher, will you take me with you? I know an offer rare as hen's teeth when I hear it. Yeah, I'm taking it. You won't regret this.
Hey.
At least take care, child. Come back to us in one piece. If not for my sake, then Samhain's.
So don't tell her. What the High Priestess doesn't know won't hurt her.
Ah, yes, there you are. As governor and under the auspices of the Valian Trading Company, please allow me to officially welcome you to Port Marche.
I'd like to say the pleasure's all mine, but I try not to lie. Don't worry, I'm only here on account of him.
Of course. I see you've been as quick to involve yourself as ever. Apologies for that little drama outside. These are confusing times, and people often react poorly to uncertainty. Between the storm, the pirates, and the, well, certain strange events, we are all a little on edge. A few Well, quite a few people here in Port Marge claim to have seen a giant of some kind during the storm. I would call it a flight of fancy, but unless something has tainted every well in the region, I do not think it can be ignored. But then, the Deadfire is a land full of such things. You must have heard the stories. Why, I haven't the slightest idea. Wherever giants go, deep beneath the waves, with luck. Now, to the matter of your ship. You're stranded, are you? It was a rough landing by all reports. Unfortunately, our own ships are in no condition to sail. We've had dealings with the pirates ourselves. They've taken their share of supply ships. The storm saw to those berthed in the harbor. All that said, I believe I may have a solution, provided you're willing to help me in turn. Indeed, which means I can spare you, whereas I cannot spare the guards. I have the guards on the lookout for pirate vessels looking to take advantage of whatever damage the storm caused. We've cannons enough to see them off, but I need every man ready to use them. There is a site of some considerable value elsewhere on the island. A value to the trading company, you understand. In point of fact, it's the very reason any of us are here. You're familiar with the luminous Adra trade? It's also quite valuable. When refined, it sells for considerable sums. The trading company has invested a lot of time and money into locating sites suitable for mining and processing. We sought to improve the refinement process. To that end, we hired some of the brightest minds in the field of animancy and brought them out here to lend their expertise. And then one evening, a storm rolls in out of nowhere, and my scouts begin to report that a giant has marched its way across the island towards my dig site. What am I to make of that? We haven't heard from Mestre Odorisi since, nor any of his assistants, or the workers. I must know what has happened. If Odorisi, if his work is lost, then everything that we have worked for is at risk. Which is where you come in. You need a ship, I need information. See to this for me, and I'll set half the town to work. We'll patch up your ship, and you'll be free to go on your way. Well, if Eothas happens to strike down the Council, perhaps then I will have time to spare for him. Ha! Do not, please do not repeat that. We each have our debts. Whatever you believe is going on, you can see it for yourself. That is precisely what I want. Why, take his report on the situation and remind him that he's under certain contractual obligations. And relay my deep relief at his good health, of course.
I told you what happened, but you wouldn't listen to me. We could have prepared for this level of destruction. But what do I know? I'm just a priestess with prophetic dreams.
The Huana storm speakers should have kept the worst of the weather at bay. I can't imagine what else might have happened. There are wild beasts on the island, but they wouldn't have attacked an active dig site. Gillarde, then we are agreed. I will assign men to keep watch over your ship. You will find the dig site on the eastern side of the island. I'll mark it on your map, here.
You'll do it for the Watcher, but not for me? I see how it is.
Yes. Why wouldn't I want a pack of Dawn Stars crawling over my Adra mine in search of their lost deity? One more thing. If you should recover Odorisi's notes, know that they would be of great value to me.
Let's go!
Got to try something else.
May I be a candle in the night. Right on target. Hey, well, don't see why not.
I shall make it.
You out there, are the beasts gone?
Perfetto! We are saved!
Me and the Watcher? We're always happy to help.
Governor Clario must have sent you to rescue us, no? But you do not look like one of his guards.
I told you the governor does not care about us. This is all about profit. For him and the rest of the Valiant.
Caloste! You are here, and that is what matters. He is still in the ruins, we think. We were taking measurements of the luminous Adra when something strange began happening.
Fascinating. The pillar started to dim, the ground shook, and our instruments showed unusual variations.
That's when those of us with a grain of sense got into the cage.
The Colossus. Some kind of construct made from luminous Adra. It passed through the arena toward the pillar. Moments later, the pillar went dark, and all of our colleagues outside the cage froze. Like they turned to ash.
That is when the panthers and worms showed up. Started going through the tents. It was awful, but Engfirth.
Some of our people are still missing in the ruins, including Oderisi, our lead researcher. It is possible he managed to hide. Most of the ruins are that way, through the door next to the ramp. If you are going below, you should take Engfirth with you.
Hey, he looks just like...
Engfirth knows a great many spells. At first, he even cast fire to chase away the panthers.
Until the flames nearly caught one of the tents. Agrasima, I do not expect the ruins will be any safer. Many of our people remained behind, which has surely attracted more wildlife. It would be prudent to take help, as long as Engfirth is willing to go.
I would be happy to assist. I don't think that's really...
He has only been with us a few weeks. He is inexperienced, but he came with a glowing recommendation from an academy in Celona.
That is surely a generous overstatement. Surely we don't have time for...
A pupil of unnatural talent is the phrase I recall. It seems he was loved and regarded by almost all his instructors, though misunderstood, I gathered, by his fellow students.
I cannot imagine why.
Really, this helpful stranger surely has more important things to worry about. That's quite a
Students come from all over the world to study animancy in the Republics, especially since it is still forbidden in places like Adir.
But Engfeth's story is especially sad. He was only a boy when both his parents died in a fire.
He came to the Deerwood and lived at the manor of a wealthy older uncle until he also died. In a fire.
If that's all, then perhaps we should be off.
Diverus. Surely I would also change my name if...
Wait, you know him? You lied to us.
It's true I have other business. I'm afraid I can't explain. But please know that I meant no harm. I certainly didn't intend to hurt you, Benessa.
Go, Engferth, Aloth, whoever you are. Do not let me keep you from your other business. Ergon Blanca, just take him with you.
The sooner the better.
Of course.
As you like.
Enemies ahead. No good. We got trouble, folks. Take him down.
Well, that's not nice. All done.
On it. Not happening. Will do.
Trouble.
Let's go.
Take that!
As you like. Trouble.
Stay behind me.
Trouble.
I hope nobody saw that.
Beyond sick.
Can't make it dead.
Sick. There's a weapon.
I've got it.
We got trouble, folks.
I did not con this spell speak.
I shall make it so.
Enemies ahead.
Crave.
Oh, sure.
That's Odorisi.
This one's ashen. Means he ain't got no soul for me to tend to, right?
You place your hand against the pillar of luminous Audra. A dim, warm light emanates from the surface, but it feels cool to the touch. Pinpricks dance along your fingers, uncomfortable, but not painful. A woman's voice, scratchy, distant, and halting, echoes in your mind.
Find your soul in him.
You concentrate, peering into the Audra's energy as you would peer into a soul. Its inner light is blinding, but as you become accustomed to it, you perceive the core of the Audra itself, a churning mass of millions of soul fragments. With a jolt, the energy reaches out to you. The Anguithan ruined fragments around you, breaking into incoherent shapes and dissolving to dust. falling into an infinite well of dark gray vapor. Even the ground itself disintegrates into nothingness. All that remains is the murky expanse of the in-between. The Audra Pillar, and a skein of golden threads rooted in the pillar that extend far off into the distance. You focus on the threads. You catch glimpses of memories, your memories, mingled among the memories of thousands of other captive souls. The filaments begin to cohere, rapidly twining into a golden cord. With a muffled crack, the cord ripples outward in a violent wave toward the endless distance. The cord undulates over a space so vast that you lose sight of the wave before it finds its end. Then, a heavy creaking, like the sound of mountains shearing under their own weight, washes through the dull gloom of the in-between. A violent force yanks you along the cord at an incredible speed. The murk of the in-between warps erratically, as though you are observing it through an ill-ground lens. Just as quickly as you were pulled forward, you stop, suspended below a massive figure of ancient carved Audra. Like all Audra, it glimmers with energy, but the souls and memories within it are not flowing down. They churn in a vortex that burns at the heart of the statue's mass in some invisible engine. It is Eothas. The great golden cord terminates in his back, sending pulses of energy throughout his limbs as they move. He walks in long, slow strides toward a brilliant pillar of Audra far in the distance. It shines even more brightly in the in-between than Eothas. From within the teeming throng of souls, dozens of eyes look out to you. Through the cord, their collective anguish and despair push at the edge of your mind.
Help us! Please! Help us!
Their voices echo in your mind. Somewhere within their ranks, you can feel the presence of your own soul, slumbering deeper in the gyre. You reach out to the lost souls, but the incredible power flowing through Eothas' body repulses you. Not even your Watcher powers can penetrate the massive tides of energy crashing through him. The souls sense your efforts and attempt to breach the surface of Eothas' body, but are instantly pulled back down into the deep well at the statue's heart, as though they were pried from the edge of a great precipice. Eothas' stride slows and stops. His head slowly pivots, until its great burning eyes are cast back along the cord. As his gaze meets yours, you feel an overwhelming rush of incredible joy, mingled with profound sadness. You have sensed similar anguish in lost souls, but never with this intensity. A soothing voice drifts into your mind.
It takes great bravery to venture through the in-between, even for a Watcher.
A swell of admiration radiates out from the god's heart, a force so intense that it momentarily overwhelms you.
You do not need to follow me, for their sake or your own. Something beautiful is coming. Something that will save us all.
A great light shines from Eothas' brow, so bright that even the souls within him flinch from the source, cowering in fear. Through the glare, you see Eothas' massive arm reach up to grasp the golden cord. The tether, carrying energy from the Audra Pillar to him, that also suspends your consciousness.
The sun will yet rise, Watcher. You need only wait for its light to come.
Eothas yanks on the golden cord, pulling it from his back. The cord tears into filaments that blacken and dissolve to dust. Without pause, he turns to resume his stride toward the distant pillar of Audra, shining on the boundless horizon. You hear the souls within him cry out for just a moment, before your consciousness is snapped away from them. The in-between goes dark. For a second, you feel a mix of nausea and a sensation like spinning and falling. Then the moment ends. Your consciousness has returned, to the Angwithan arena. The world is sideways, the Audra pillar upside down. You flinch at the feeling that you're standing on the ceiling. The disorientation overwhelms you and you collapse to your knees next to the luminous Audra pillar. Previously dim and flickering, the pillar now glows with a strong and steady light. You touch the Audra again, but the chill and prickling sensations you felt before are gone, replaced with a comforting warmth, like the embers of a fire that has just lost its flame.
You alright? Come on, we just got your back. I heard you say that before. Had something to do with a 2,000-year-old lunatic talking to you in your dreams. I've seen you commune with souls of the dead, but this looked altogether different. What happened?
Well, really? I knew it. I mean, that's great, Watcher. Ain't it? What did Gon say? Is he gonna meet us? What do we do next? He charged you with a divine calling, didn't he? Just like he's done for me.
How hard can it be to find in a chain of thousands of islands?
I wonder what he's after, and why he's been giving me these dreams. The things I've seen, they leave a mark on your soul. I may not know what Gon's got planned for me, but clearly he wanted me to meet you.
Yeah? Well, don't see why not.
What do you see that I can't, Watcher? All of them? Really?
Watcher, we'd like to come with you. You have our thanks. We appreciate that you showed us the way to the Audra. But what if it goes dark, before we reach the Beyond?
Can I harvest the souls now? Thank you for aiding my mission, Watcher. I just knew you'd help me if I followed you.
Thank you, Watcher.
Well, don't see why not.
What can I do for you? At last, Belfetto, tell me, please, what has happened? How much have we lost? I must know. I see. And the work? Odorisi's notes? Was there nothing of his research? You did. Gods be kind. Belfetto! Belfetto! We are saved! That is, Odorisi's legacy is not wholly lost. I like to believe the man would find that pleasing. You say this is all the work of the Titan, of Eothas, and you still insist on looking for him? He destroyed your ship, killed my people. Would it not make more sense to sail to the far side of the world and away from all this? You are too trusting in your superstition. Believe in what you have seen and felt. The death of every man and woman at that dig site. Merla, he will ravage every outpost in the Deadfire. That Adra is why we are here, Why, everyone is here in truth. The Valiant Trading Company, the Royal Deadfire Company, countless mercenaries. You'll want to go to Neketaka. Queen Onekaza II rules there at the Kahanga Palace. Anyone seeking to do business in the Deadfire Archipelago must negotiate with her first. The Queen knows every other vein of worth in the Deadfire. I'm certain she can help you. That is, if she agrees to see you at all. The most powerful tribe in the region, now that Onekaza II has united a host of them under her rule. Ikawa would disagree, but then Ikawa contents herself with a spit of land and a handful of followers. I have not forgotten. We will get you to Neketaka, and for that, you need your ship. I'll arrange it with Ikawa. Between the two of us, I'm certain we can gather the workers we need. Head down to the beach once you are ready to depart. Bompiacco, it is only right, after all you have done for me. I won't keep you further. You have a long and very strange journey ahead. Some advice. After you have had your audience with the Queen, seek out the Valiant Trading Company. They make their headquarters in Neketaka, and the company always appreciates good help. I'm sure you're eager to depart.
Good, you are here. Clario has made good on his promise. We are making ready to free your ship. I say still that you are fortunate. The ship was nearly lost, but it will float. For how long, I cannot say. You will wish to find a friendly port with some speed, I think. So you will go to the great Kahanga city as well. You must sail north for some time, and then a little east. Take care in Neketaka, outsider. It will close its jaws around you, and you will never notice. Come, we will see your Defiant out to sea.
We should address the matter of our ship's resources before we get underway. It saddens me to inform you that we lost several crew and most of our provisions during the storm. However, Port Margé appears to be well supplied, and I expect the recent disaster has left several sailors in want of a ship. I suggest we contract for additional supplies and crew before we return to open water, or our voyage may indeed be a short one.
Pardon, Water of Cadno. On behalf of the Principe Sen Patrina, I must request we meet in parley. E così. It has been some time since I last asked another's permission. I have heard some marvelous tales regarding your ventures in the Deerwood. In fact, you are the first dragon slayer I have ever met, outside of a grave. Some fools would seek to make a fortune by pilfering from one such as you.
I take it he is not one of those fools. Perhaps we should listen.
I believe you have met such a fool. Captain Benweth of the Drake. Voxen of Ubildet Merla. Careful, ship hunter. Mind that you do not confuse a useful skill set for a non-expendable one. My apologies. Rest assured, it will not happen again.
Apologies, Captain. Didn't mean it, really. We're up all night, you know, searching out our friend here. You've been at sea a while. Your mind starts playing tricks on you, eh? Well, mine plays tricks on others, too. Usually don't mean much. Maybe see a bit of shadow, hear a bit of tune. Not unless the person's sensitive. Like, say, a watcher.
Gelarde. Then that should make this easy. I am keen to show my rascal of a compatriot some much-needed humility. I thought perhaps you may care to as well.
For on tease, for do my job for me, friend. Hope you don't die in the effort.
As an ally to the Knights of the Crucible, I believe Benweth sought to take you down a notch. Word of Benweth's raid on the Defiant will spread throughout the Deadfire. More fools will seek to prey upon you. I would suggest you stave off all others by making an example of Benweth. I will be honest with you, amico. I do not favor Benweth, nor do I care for the company he keeps. Such fools and scoundrels serve only to tarnish the Principe's reputable name. But I believe you will be capable of setting him straight. Of course, amico. Work with me, and I will weight your pockets with gold. When you have dealt with my problem, I will prepare a fine welcome for you at my port. Now, a tip for you. Benweth's Drake took damage during the storm. Eventually, he will need to dock for repairs, and when he does, Seraphin can find him for you. He is rather an unrefined creature, but he is a most skilled ship hunter, I assure you.
Unrefined? Begging your pardon, Captain, but I'd be the fucking model of the gentleman of fortune. As for Benweth, that sucker of squid tits be as predictable as the tide. I'd wager all my furriest bits that he'd set sail for Deadlight.
That would be felicitous indeed, as I believe the traitor Remaro hides there as well. I quite enjoy killing two men with a single bullet.
Wouldn't have even thought of it if you hadn't brought it up, sir. Now, I ain't hardly in any hurry to leave the fine company of the gentlemen of leisure, but the captain be right about me finding your mark. Adding to that, you sail into Fort Deadlight not knowing your innies from your outies, you might very well find the locals cannon fucking your boat to sodden splinters. Oh, you won't be regretting this, Watcher. At least so long as you keep us heavy in grog and light on the onions. Ugh, them dirty shit apples ain't never agreed with me, and I'll be suspecting they never will.
He's not sleeping near my berth, I promise you that much.
I sail now for Dunwich, my own safe port. I will await you there, should you be successful in schooling our wayward captain.
The ring of a bell comes to you on a cold wind. The ring comes again and again, until soon the air is full with the sound of 1,000 bells ringing all at once. You are alone. And then, you are not. An indistinct figure stands before you, flickering between forms like a fire-cast shadow. A fixed, taunting grin. Bottomless black eyes, a yawning chasm in the earth. The aspects of Bareth, the Usher and the Pallid Knight, shift in and out of focus. And at their back, 4 indistinct shades hover. You feel an eternity stretch out behind each of them, reaching back to places so distant and yet so near you cannot comprehend their size. The shifting image of Bareth settles on the aspect of the Pallid Knight.
Watcher.
Her voice is the discordant clangor of gongs struck out of time.
I tasked you to discover Eothas's intentions. Tell me what you have learned.
The Pallid Knight knits her brows.
He does not seek to return to the Beyond? Intriguing.
Her sickly pale skin pulls tight across the bones of her face, as if the shell of this aspect does not quite fit the impossible creature it contains. The figure nearest Bareth dissolves and reforms in the image of a thin-lipped, ancient crone, whose face has felt the melting kiss of fire. The goddess Wodica strides forward.
Does Eothas frighten you, Bareth? He should. Magran subdued Eothas's influence once before, and yet he returned.
From out of Wodica's shadow shuffles a hunched, bald man you recognize as the god Scan. His skin is mapped with swollen lash scars, and breath whistles through the ragged hole in his face where his nose once was. He does not speak, but stares up at Wodica, with naked loathing plain on his ruined face. Wodica steeples her long, knob-jointed fingers.
We must annihilate Eothas now, before he makes a rash decision we cannot easily annul.
She casts a sly look at the Pallid Knight from the corners of her eyes.
A moon would do the job nicely.
Wodica throws her head back and laughs. The sound is a dry, rasping bark.
Andra could do with a new act. Her current one has grown rather stale.
They see to their own affairs. You will speak to them in time, should you have the need.
The figure beside the aspect of Bareth flows forward in a swirling cloud of ash. The ash falls to the tiles and reveals a molten-skinned woman, leaning on a monstrous, wicked-edged broadsword. Magran's glowing lips curl in disdain.
We must find a solution to the problem of Eothas that is neither do nothing, nor destroy the world.
I acted in haste during the Saints' War. You will not goad me into doing the same now. To move against him while his plans are unknown would be the height of foolishness. We must find wisdom in precaution.
Magrin looks at you as one might a wayward gob of spit on one's shoe.
It is no business of yours what the gods decide.
Another of the silent figures steps forward, and the warm, golden light of a summer's afternoon spills across your face.
Let's all take a deep, calming breath. Perhaps cooler heads will prevail.
Behind Helia's words, you hear the soft coo of doves.
Eothas has been separated from us for too long. Isn't it possible he intends only to gather enough souls to reclaim his realm in the beyond? He should be welcomed.
You look up then into avian eyes. Through them, you see clouds of starlings converge and divide. Helia puts a feathered hand to her chest.
He wouldn't. Betrayal is not in his nature.
Scan shuffles forward.
Yes, yes. We should welcome Eothas' return to the fold. His gratitude we can leverage to cajole him into divulging his plot. Then, when he believes himself to be in our good graces, we do as Wedeka suggests, and crush him into the earth.
Scan pauses, inspecting you.
Ah, and here is the Watcher who wiped dear desperate Alice's mind. You could have let my followers help her kill the man who tormented her. But you did not. Curious.
Scan licks the ragged edge of his lipless mouth and grins, then turns to Helia.
I did not expect such a deliciously ruthless idea from you, Helia. I am impressed.
Helia's feathered crest stands on end.
You wretched little creature.
Your point is well made, little Watcher. If self-evident, Eothas has not been known to possess a vindictive nature. Indeed, he has occasionally been magnanimous to a fault. However, if we push him to the brink of reason, there is no telling what he may do. He is, as ever, unpredictable.
Something akin to fondness creeps into her voice. The Pallid Knight gestures for silence.
Eothas cannot be killed, but he may be subdued. Yet to do so will take immense power and time. Both stand in his favor.
Magrin grits her black glass teeth.
That is why we must ascertain his plans before he has the chance to put them into motion.
She begins to pace. Her steps leave little trails of fire in her wake. Magrin stops and balls her hands into flaming fists.
Even if we manage to destroy his current form, there is the possibility he could return, if he has not already absorbed all of his children.
The Pallid Knight casts a cold, cutting glare in Magrin's direction.
Magrin speaks too freely. That knowledge is beyond your ken, Watcher.
Warwica waves the gods to silence.
Eothas gathers strength. His strength is a threat to us.
Her voice takes on a sharp, almost panicked edge.
There is no sensible answer to the question of a resurgent Eothas, other than decisive, final action.
Your opinion is unasked for and unnecessary, but noted nonetheless.
Though her tone is impassive, the banked fury in her eyes says well enough what she thinks of your interruptions.
We will act when it is appropriate to do so, and not before.
The Pallid Knight steps away from the half-circle of assembled gods. She pulls herself up to a great height. The words she speaks next come not from her mouth, but from all around you.
Follow him, Watcher.
The black of the Pallid Knight's irises expand until her eyes are as dark and cold as the void between stars. She bends down and brings her ghostly face level with your own.
Your debt to me remains unpaid.
She stares at you, unblinking. Like a needle drawn to a magnet, you are pulled toward her one compulsory step at a time. You blink open your eyes and find yourself on the floor of your ship's cabin, alone.
You're far from home, farmer. How did you make it all this way in your little boat?
Why do we gotta be farmers just because we're from Deerwood?
Are you a farmer?
Yeah, but you can't just assume. We got rabble-rousers, too.
I'm the harbor master, Kauha. I must ask your reason for docking in Neketaka. Is that so? Well, Andra told me to protect the harbor, and Wodika herself signed the order. They would have had Gallowayne do it, but he was sick this morning.
Show them. Show them what you are. Yes. Yes. That's it.
What's the matter with you? What are you doing? If you're trying to scare us with some cipher mischief, save the purple flames for the tribes of the Outer Islands.
Now.
What? What is this?
Run for it!
Everybody saw that, right? It wasn't just me?
Oh, I shall. While I am flattered by the esteemed Hazanui's confidence, I must wonder how my people are meant to have destroyed an entire colony overnight.
You tell us. It's no coincidence that your outpost at Port Mage survived the recent storm.
You speak as if I could command the tides. While you are casting your blame in a wide net, why not look to our Kahunga allies? We do not share their talent for shaping water.
I say our guest forgets himself.
Brother, stand down. You are the one who mistakes my throne room for a sparring arena. I say this is beneath us. An interesting visitor in difficult times. You cannot be here to deliver a favorable omen. The gods remember the honest, and so do I. Allow me to apologize as I toss you before the wolves. This one is a watcher blessed by Tangaloa. I suspect that many of our questions about Hasongo will soon be answered.
Ugh, I know this one. His parlor tricks frightened 10 years of every sailor in Queen's Berth.
We assembled to discuss the darkening of Hasongo, one of Rawatai's colonies. Watcher, it seems you have the floor.
Huh. What sailor's tale is this?
There's no sane explanation for what's been happening. You keep waiting for one, it'll be too late.
Does tilling the soils of the Eastern Reach drive all men mad? You sound as crazy as the Dawnstar Dreamers.
Have you not heard the rumors, Karu? An Adra Colossus marching across the sea. Sailor tales, but credible ones.
Cantanichese. I'm acquainted with the Watcher of Cadnoir from my assignments in Defiance Bay and Twin Elms.
Diverus? It explains the colorful nature of your reports.
I have seen things with him that are not even told in the most outlandish of sailors' tales.
And I'm supposed to take 2 Valians at their word?
How came a Watcher from half the world away to be involved in these happenings? Enlighten the court. The Lady of Doors must have great confidence in you. Tracking down a god who stands as tall as a mountain, a fisherman with poor eyesight could do this. My priests will trip over their feet to interpret his divine plan. Watcher, can you cut through the din and tell for what he comes to the Deadfire? How resourceful of you. The Isles are studded with enough luminous Adra to bankroll an economy. I believe our course is clear. We will send the Watcher to Hasongo. Set sail to the west of Nekataka. I would tell you to keep a weather eye out for a lighthouse, but the God of Light did not appreciate competition. Something to add, Hazanui? You have an eager look about you. She believes herself entitled to my ear, I say.
Only that Hasongo is a Rawatayan outpost. It would be useful for the Watcher to take one of ours along.
Ma'am?
Maya's an expert sailor and a better sharpshooter. The best the Brass Citadel has to offer. Whatever comes your way, she'll see it first.
If it gets me and Ashiza out of diplomat duty, we'd set sail with a drunk scolder at the helm.
And shut us out entirely? We have every right to know of any hazards in these waters. Palagino, go with the Watcher. See that the Republics are served in this investigation.
Ah, Your Excellency. Permet Consuelias.
That will be enough parading of champions for now. I'm certain that our guest knows how to assemble a crew. Akira, if you can stand the chattering of unlike minds on your ship, that is your prerogative.
Oh, good thing I'm already accustomed to cramped quarters and temperamental birds.
We both have our orders. I have no interest in interfering with you as long as you do not interfere with me.
I believe we are finished here. Aruihi? Aren't we popular? Take care at Hasongo. The Deadfire was overfull before Eothas blundered in. And take care with your trading company spies.
I say it is beyond time our guests lick their wounds somewhere else. Your coming is a favorable omen already. You happen by a time when our rivals bicker and tear at each other's throats. It does not take a priest to see how the gods send us an outsider to dig under the skin of our enemies. Save your manners for my sister. Kohopa fashioned me for the arena, not the court. I will not paddle around the island. My sister wants to know if you are as useful as you are disruptive. She trusts me to judge this. You did not come this far to serve the crown, I say. But sailing is an expensive hobby. Loyal service can keep your galley stocked. Ikera, to patch a hull or stitch a sail is costly when supplies come from distant islands. The city has honest work for those in need, I say. and insists that everyone carry a heavy purse. My sister keeps a tight grip on Nekataka, but the filth of it drips down her palm and into the gullet. You have some knowledge of Nekataka already. They say you have explored the city beneath the city. Under our noses, I say, do foreigners smuggle contraband and pay the Rapau for their silence? How do they avoid the inspectors? Who is responsible? This cannot have gone unseen by all. Undercroft, a darker, more fetid layer of Nekataka, I say. Onikaza and I are the mind and heart of the city, but the bowels, these we cannot reach. At least Delver's Row is a stable target. The Crown has time to decide the next steps. What say? You hit upon my curiosity. Speak on. You are quick to come to their defense, but the Raparu must recall their place in society. If the black market will expend its resources toward the Raparu, then I say they have bought an uneasy truce. Delver's Row is safe, for now. Be sure that I do not regret this. I had my suspicions, but I had no wish to see them confirmed. When it comes to the dignity of the guild, the Crown can compromise nothing. Onikaza will see their leadership disciplined, I say. Ikira, and if we enjoyed less interesting times, I say she would. Onikaza and I both expect more from the guild, I say. She will not be pleased. Ikira, but at least you returned to me in one piece. You are not the first agent I sent to the gullet, but you are the first to return. I cannot say that I desire to send you to worse places than the gullet, but... Ikira, I like a man who works for his prize. Does the name Ukaizo mean anything to you? Ikira, then the city's bowel hides more than I credit. Ukaizo was the home of the Huana before cataclysm and destruction wiped the island from the Deadfire. That is the story. Story or no, I make no secret that we search for Ukaizo. Our tribes are spread across many isles, but it is Ukaizo which binds us. Ukaizo, and the knowledge that we must return. To that end, a local cartographer secured a lead. A breadcrumb to a breadcrumb, I say. I sent an expedition to Matario Cozy, one of the Sanctuary Isles. They were to retrieve evidence of our lost homeland. They have yet... Before you go...
That did seem like too nice a way to end it.
The expedition. I have reason to believe they will not be returning to Nekataka. You forget yourself, but I am more forgiving than my sister. We found this at the palace doorstep, cut from the robe of the expedition leader. One mystery heaped on another, I say. Kira, that is something, I say. Take care if you alight on Matario Cozy. My fear is that the island is sanctuary no more. Prepare yourself for a hard voyage northeast of Nekataka. Matario Cozy is nestled in the Kua Rakuhu Islands, in the midst of a landmass that resembles a storm, like the fall of Ukaizo locked in time.
Yes, I shall.
The spine of the old book, revealing blackened pages of dense, illegible text. The words recede into the shadows the longer you focus on them. Suddenly, the page widens to eclipse the world around you. A dark void stretches out on all sides. The air full of choking fumes that carry dying embers and curling flakes of ash. Something stirs in the darkness. An old woman steps forward, leering down at you from on high. Her smile is toothy and cruel. Her cheeks warp around it like melted candle wax.
I'm so glad that my messenger tracked you down. These days it's impossible to find good help. Watcher, Before you draw your weapon, know that these proceedings are under a banner of peace. If this was a trap, it would have already closed around you. While Barroth whispers in one ear and Eothas shouts in the other, I thought you could use a more seasoned perspective to drown out the noise. Don't you find it unusual how open and accessible my siblings have made themselves? After millennia of subdued whispers, now they practically scream their intentions. And isn't it strange how we never bicker unless a mortal is watching? If we still possessed our glorious titans, my siblings and I would have put an end to Eothas and his rampage by now. While we are powerless to stop him, some of my kin wish to observe how mortals respond to this threat. They think it will shine a light on the value of our patronage. Have we raised you well enough to be self-sufficient? Or must we return to Eora and impose some corrective measures? A cross-section of society has converged on the Deadfire. Some of my kin are of an opinion that we are meant to judge mortals on the basis of their performance, while the rest of us have already made up our minds on the matter. Judge for yourself, but I think you'll find my intentions are more straightforward than you think. When we ascended to godhood, we did so to provide for a savage people. Our goal was to craft a society whose values were made to last. Perhaps even a society that had no need of us. A naive fallacy, but one that inspired my optimistic, misguided kin. How you and your allies counter this threat will demonstrate whether you are competent enough to guide your own destinies, or if we need to revise our strategy. The soft-hearted among us are counting on you to win this existential wager. No doubt, Eothas shares their sympathies. I do not. We exist to rule over mortals. Nothing can change that. So now you know the truth. I assume you have questions. Whether knowingly or unintentionally, you seem to find yourself on the vanguard of change. Mortals like you come but once in a lifetime. Some would react poorly if I stripped mortals of their freedom without giving them a chance to plead their case. You have the honor of standing tall as their advocate. Before I return to Eora and assume my position as your deserving tyrant, you have this opportunity to prove me wrong. To demonstrate whether or not mortals are responsible enough to claim their future. You speak as if you do. Mortals have precious little time to decide for themselves. Will they stand together as one, or swallow their pride and bend the knee? I have every confidence that you will disappoint us. Once my position is upheld, the undecided among the gods will embrace my plan. The wheel is our shared responsibility, and each of us serves it in our own fashion. I am the axle upon which the gods balance their power. Eothas keeps the wheel in motion. He was our promise to mortals that time and labor would yield a deserving reward on the next turning of the cycle. Much of reincarnation's mechanism exists in the idea space of the beyond. You wouldn't find a wall of cogs and levers unless we conjured one to illustrate a point. The wheel has but one material component in all of Eora. Something we built to channel essence through luminous Adra and into the beyond with reliable continuity. Before we intervened, the flow of essence was directionless, unpredictable. Before we took control of the wheel, reincarnation was error-prone, lacking forward momentum. Hollowborn were fairly common, and hardly the worst of the soul maladies. Control gave us the power to strengthen the souls of intelligent kith over generations. We made you wiser, stronger, more likely to develop the society we thought you deserved. Every turning of the cycle demonstrated the righteousness of my belief. Nature begets chaos, and discipline begets perfection. At the height of our power, we recognized the potential of the soul. We knew that it could be bound, split apart, diverted like a river, and hammered together. Hammering was trivial. Those of us who agreed with the Apotheosis Project, and many who did not, submitted to a violent and horrible erasure of our individuality. After the dust settled, we adopted the forms of beings from Eora's most prevalent myths. There were other faiths and legends, but we labored to strike their names from history. Speak, Watcher. It isn't every day that I open myself to these communions, so spend your breath wisely. Nothing you've done has tarnished it utterly beyond repair. You may congratulate yourself on that much, at least. Prove it or disprove it, yes. I never agreed to this arrangement, but if your example demonstrates mortal ineptitude, as I trust it will, then I can make the plan serve me. An assertive minority of gods believe that your choices will prove the value of their wild optimism. As if mortal collaboration and ingenuity are endorsements of our leadership. Then there are those of us who know better, who are not so easily convinced. Kith are vulnerable, unless they submit to the destiny we chart for them. Thinking otherwise can only breed dissent and chaos. It was an ambitious plan, our utopia. Perhaps too ambitious. We ascended to power, responding to a need inadequately satisfied. Assuming these roles gave us the authority to mold Eora over time, to influence you and lay the groundwork for a society yet to come. On the outset of the plan, some believed that mortals would outgrow us, as if that was a favorable outcome. To me, our eternal pantheon was always a critical fixture. Eothas was one of those who supported mortals, while I have always been their most vocal critic. Opposition can take many forms. If a church embraces and weaponizes my doctrine, that is very different from me rampaging as a titan. Eothas is not known for subtlety. Twice now, he has contaminated the purity of our experiment, and done so with extravagant displays that undermine our authority. His approach was sophisticated, indirect. I owe you no explanations on the matter. Besides, you are not worthy to speak his name. I am the counterpoint to the soft-hearted. It makes no difference if mortals pass some arbitrary test. My mind is settled on the matter. Regardless of my feelings, the timing of this crisis forces us to accelerate our schedule. Final judgment comes sooner than any of us would prefer. Yes, I think we will. This is not the end of our discussion. You know how to find your way back to this place.
Wotica nods stiffly. You feel her presence drift as a breeze, rustling as it goes.
I don't get this at all. There was a Dawnstar settlement on Isango. The place got trampled just the same. This is Widewen all over again. Only now we know it really is Eothas behind it. I'll tell you one thing. When we catch up to that unstoppable god statue, me and him are gonna have words. Lava better be alright.
Eothas was here all right. And it looks like he was headed to that lighthouse on the western end. And where do you think I'm going to put it?
Oh, that's
Hey,
the stuff.
that wasn't half bad.
The sea-striped fiends send you to uproot the tree of the gods, yes? Their blasphemy knows no bounds. Go! Carry a warning of what you have seen to the other shufflers. That shufflers must not disturb these roots, or the gods will destroy the islands again. Do your stories say nothing of the many disasters? Of the shuffler nests washed away like foam? Many generations ago, the sand-striped ones built great hives across the islands, and bastions around the Adra roots. Their ancestors, yes, their meddling displeased the gods. So the gods smashed their works with heaving volcanoes and crashing waves. You shufflers are beasts of habit. You do not learn. You do not change. You cast off your sheddings by night, only to put them back on at daybreak. You wrap yourself in filthy, worn-out things. Our ancestors hid deep, where the waters quenched the fires and muffled the storms. They remembered while shufflers scattered. Now, the shufflers build again. The gods see. They will tear them all down. If your fat tongue speaks true, then give us proof. I tell you, thick tongues lie. Forked tongues do not. If what you say is true, then surely you can speak with the dead. I will believe your words, only if I hear them from the tongue of my own people.
Sugan, I found the way.
Yanis? You died. We saw.
The way became dark, but this one brought light.
We will kill the shuffler and free your soul, Yanis.
Do old scales cloud your eyes? The shuffler glows like the Godwalker, like the way. He will open the way.
The gods give you power, yes. But is it enough? Approach. Restore the blessing of the gods to the Adra.
As your hand touches the dim Adra, you feel the same cool, pricking sensation that you did when you touched the pillar near Port Mage. You concentrate on the pillar. The world around you swiftly falls away, leaving only the vast emptiness of the in-between. The Adra, and a multitude of golden threads undulating off into the distance. For a second time, you gather the threads in your mind and bind them together, forming a solid tether that ripples out toward its distant anchor. Again, a crack sounds from the terminus. Your consciousness is violently pulled along the cord. You are prepared for the sensation this time, but are still disoriented when you come to a sudden stop. You find yourself standing behind a familiar Titanic statue as it trudges through invisible waters. Standing at Eothas' shoulder, your soul is dwarfed by the massive god's form. Energy pulses along the tether, each wave feeding the Audra's movements. He stops. His head cranes behind him, again accompanied by the sound of stone shearing and buckling. His eyes rest upon you. He does not reach for the cord, but considers you for a long span of silence before speaking.
Your first attempt to contact me was brave. This second attempt, is it born out of desperation or something else? Why do you continue to follow me, Watcher of Caed Nua? Many Kith would like to know the god's designs. Why is it so important to you?
At first, he does not respond, but there is a wavering from the light within him. A momentary dimming that allows you to see the souls within the Audra clearly.
I never sought violence or death, but Margren and the Hand Occult have ensured that the world believes the madman Widewind tried to destroy the Deerwood and everyone in it. In truth, a war was what I desired, but not one of violence. I sought a war of conscience. If people saw that the ruins so faithfully guarded by the Glanfathans were nothing more than machines the Angwithans had used to turn themselves into gods, what could that mean?
Eothas becomes silent. You can sense his presence advancing back along the cord between you. His energy flows over your hand, tendrils of light probing into the air around you. They poke and prod at the silent lost souls hovering in your vicinity.
You are in a unique position. In spite of the work of the Leaden Key and Hand Occult, you have seen through our facade. You know the god's true nature. Without the benefit of your knowledge, few mortals would be willing to accept the true history of their gods. After all, we weren't. The last time I walked Eora, I made a mistake in not revealing my true purpose. I believe you would understand it better than most. Yes, I will tell you, but this is not the time. As I take this body farther from the lighthouse, the tether grows weaker, and I have already tarried too long. Soon this link will unravel completely. If I have not reached my destination when that happens, I will need to pull more souls from your world. It is. When you contacted me from Port Mage, I had to sever my tether to the luminous Audra. Without it, I lacked the strength to reach Hasongo. I pulled souls from the creatures of the ocean and from the people at Hasongo until I could reach the lighthouse. The soldiers and Naga there were no threat to me. I did not kill them out of malice, but simply to keep this body moving. That question, Watcher, requires a more philosophical examination than we have time for.
The edges of Eothas' massive form blur and dissolve. The huge figure retreats from you. As it moves, the tether begins to rapidly unravel. As Eothas speaks, his voice sounds garbled, fragmented, and distant.
If you would know more, find me at the Ashen Maw in Margren's Teeth. I must rest there before I begin my final work. When I leave that place, you will not be able to follow. Before I go, I should return some of this to you. I still have need of the great power of your soul, but I can spare you this portion.
A pulse of energy moves back along the golden cord toward you. It feels familiar, comforting, even before it contacts you. The energy washes over you, flooding you with feelings and memories you had thought long forgotten until they settle back into the cracks of your soul. And then the tether and cord snap. Eothas' figure evaporating into dust that mingles with the endless gray expanse. Heat rushes over you, and the uncomfortable sensation of the Audra Pillar's presence cuts off. The gloom of the in-between is pierced by the light of the living world. You are back in the lighthouse, no longer dim. The luminous Audra beside you is filled with warmth and light.
Long have we kept peace with the sand-striped people. But then, the foreign ones came and spread, killed our people, built their hives everywhere. We were sure the Godwalker came to cast them out, that driving them away was a holy mission. You have never fought to defend something. Very fortunate. Or cowardly. We must go. I know not what this means, but our brethren should hear of it. You show us something new today, Shuffler. Thank you for this. And for your mercy.
Yeah, that's it!
Just like that.
You blink and find yourself standing in the knee-high grass of an endless field, with the day just falling into dusk. Then, the earth falls away. The wind ceases, and you are sent tumbling up into the dark of the sky.
Watcher.
The voice of the Pallid Knight shakes the earth at your feet. You have returned to Bareth's realm. Your soul once more called to attend the wishes of the God of Death. You can't be certain, but you think you might see the barest hint of a smile tugging at the edges of the Pallid Knight's lips.
Once again, you have spoken with the Child of Light. Tell me what you have learned. Intriguing.
The Pallid Knight stares past you, pensive.
While attend. Tell me what your many eyes perceive.
Her words ring out, and a heavy silence descends. In the silence breaks the murmur of countless voices. They speak all at once in languages both known and unknown to you. In the space beside Bareth, an eye blinks open, followed fast by several more. They are round, keen eyes of Kith, the slit eyes of snakes, the small, dark marbles of birds, the bulbous lanterns of deep-sea fish.
Here we are.
A figure walks through the cloud of eyes as one might step through a door. It is an Orlan, then a pale elf, an ocean human, a Naga. Each of them eyeless. They are Wal.
This is the first interesting thing to happen in ages. And we do so love a riddle.
The figure wears an Amawa's grin, and the many voices beneath its own titter.
Some things must be lost to be found again. You knew that once, when you buried my scroll beneath the earth in Black Meadow. But it seems you have forgotten. We have read the book of your life, Watcher. It is heavy with the weight of your choices, and its pages are not unmarred by the blood of others. You reap, but on a smaller scale. We see between the strings of the world, and Eothas is there, strumming them like a lute. His tongue is still, yet he sings of a coming joy. What tune he plays, we do not know. It is complex, ever-shifting. One moment vibrating in harmony, the next in discord.
A man strides through the door to Bareth's realm. Behind him lope wolves with lolling tongues, and jungle cats whose long tails twitch with every step. Galawain, the changeling, arrives, and he brings with him the wild heart of Eora's untamed places. Fast on Galawain's heels, a small wave of seawater washes across the tiles. It pours off the edge of the platform and cascades down into the beyond. From out of the water rears a glowing lure, then the head of a gigantic fish. The round black eyes of Andra roll to meet yours.
Eothas is nothing if not resourceful. I admire his nerve.
In the changeling's voice, you hear the soft patter of rain on leaves and the rush of wind through treetops.
Hunger will drive the most pathetic of beasts to desperate acts of bravery. If his journey leads him back to us, he has proved himself worthy of return to the fold.
Eothas does not return to us. He returns to execute some grand plan. We must stop him.
Andra's voice rises like a tide, panic riding its crest. The doors lining the walls of Bareth's realm slam open in unison. Warped pieces of ancient armor and the remnants of discarded weapons roar through the doorways. They meet in the center of the room, in a shower of sparks and form, the vague figure of a man. Finally, a blacksmith's sledge hurtles past your shoulder, and the figure snatches it from the air. A man made half of metal and half of ruined skin stands before you. The rounded metal of a well-worn shield makes up most of his skull, his right eye socket, and jaw. His mouth is pulled forever into a half-grimace.
If Eothas has something foolish planned, perhaps we can turn him from that path and set him down a more productive one.
Abaddon's words crash and screech together, like long still gears forced to movement for the first time in centuries.
Abaddon speaks with a child's naivety. He violates not their realms, but mine. I feel his urgency in every stamp of his feet along my spine. I will send tsunamis to slow him, if Mogren would stir the earth beneath Mogren's teeth.
The water at your feet recedes. Lava oozes up through the shallow water, and a woman made from the guts of the earth emerges. She settles her characteristic broadsword on her shoulder and sighs a cloud of smoke and ash. Mogren returns.
In the age when our steps carved valleys across the face of Eora, our bodies were impervious to all but the strongest attacks. I doubt fire and water will be enough to stop him, but I will bear down upon Eothas with all the heat and fury of the earth. If I must.
The death of thousands now could prevent the death of millions later.
Dark, inky tears fall from Andra's eyes.
Sacrifices of the few protect the futures of the many. You cannot let your petty, mortal feelings blind you to the urgency of the dilemma Eothas has thrust upon us.
You will mind upon whose ground you tread.
The pallid night watches you with keen, predatory eyes. The deep, bellowing cry of an aurochs shakes the ground beneath your feet. The cry drones on and on, a moan without end. Wal's many eyes squeeze shut. Andra slips back beneath her waves. Mogren dissipates in a swirling cloud of steam. Galawain's beasts cower and whine. Only the pallid night stands impassive.
My end comes to all things in time. Should Eothas care to hasten the inevitable, I welcome his efforts. Eothas seeks a slate wiped clean, freedom from the endless revolutions of Barath's wheel. The final emancipation of the countless stolen mortal lives the gods hoard within themselves.
The Child of Light will not choose the hour of my death.
Magrin tests the edge of her broadsword with a smoldering finger.
He sows chaos in his longing for a radiant dawn. So much will be lost in the cacophony of fear his actions inspire.
The crack of thunder rends the air. The gods fall silent.
We can wait no longer to act. Speak with him, Watcher. Discover what it is he plans.
Water begins to creep across the floor. It swells, runs swiftly, and catches at your ankles. You scrabble at the tiles, but it's no use. The current's pull drags you off the edge of Bareth's realm, and into the fathomless beyond. You splash down in water so dark you can't see the bottom. Then, the water recedes, gone, like a dream upon waking. The hard wood of your cabin's floor presses against your spine. The gods are gone, but you remain.
Kith. To return in victory from the lair of the Ancient. I misjudged you. You are one of a kind among Kith. You are without the Brenthis, so I must assume she has returned to the Everflame. What became of the Ancient? Jorda Furless. Triumph will be nigh impossible without her.
What makes you think something happened to her?
Oh, who needs some old lizard anyway?
You will answer me, Kith, without trickery or lies. Indeed. I feared the worst when the Brenthis failed to return with the beast. We've no choice. Despite the odds, we'll attack without either's strength. If this is to be our last stand, we must prepare ourselves, either for victory or for sacrifice. Lest Margaret forsake us for our failures. You've earned the right to Fire Shrine with the talk of the Everflame. But we cannot join you as yet in facing the Defiler.
As you like. Watcher, the time does not allow for niceties. Even now, Eothas gains strength from the spire. What progress have you to report? Then they will burn to ash and return to the mud kiln from whence they came. Presently, I shall erupt this volcano, and with it, consume Eothas. I suggest you retreat if you at all value your mortal form. I formed the Rathum to serve, to ward against Kith in order to safeguard Ukaizo. Now they have served me. Their sacrifice is not without honor, as yours, too, will be. Fare thee on, Watcher. My condolences, should you die.
You're certain he wanted us all to come?
Have you ever seen anything so awe-inspiring? Behold the power of my god!
Watcher, I wasn't sure you'd make it. But there is enough of you in me to grasp that you had a better chance than most. Some would say it's because you have a strong soul. Great deeds come easily to one so spiritually blessed. Or have you become great because of what has been thrust upon you? Watcher of Cadnua, Herald of Berith, Hound of Eothas.
Oh my god. You really, this can't.
I see you, Shoti. I am glad that we could meet, even if it is under quite unpleasant circumstances.
This is really happening, right? Gon, your humble priestess is before you. Please, tell me what you require of me. How do I save more lost souls than I can carry in one lifetime?
I know that you have undertaken a noble mission, but I will tell you what I told the Watcher. You need not fear for the lost souls of this world. As for you, Watcher, why is it you believe you have made it this far? Even after all these years, countless generations, we don't know either. The brightest souls can burn out in an instant, and even a pathetic, feeble spark can grow brilliant in time. But you have come a great distance for answers. What would you ask of me, Watcher? No, not now. Not in your lifetime. Perhaps in 100 generations, the books and tongues of Kith will forget the name Eothas. A penance paid in full, noted by none. That would be my absolution.
You're just gonna wait for us to forget what you did? That's your penance?
Adair stands in a broad posture, the one he so often takes when placing himself between friend and foe. His neck is sharply craned to meet the unblinking stare of his god.
How about you start by giving back the souls you took? Or maybe by apologizing to every one of your followers, especially the ones that died for you.
The molten rock of Malgren's teeth gleams bright orange in his eyes, and he looks like a man overtaken by a furious spirit.
You owe this Watcher here. You owe my brother Woden, and every last one of us that ever followed you. And you owe me. I never asked you for much, but you owe me better than what you're given.
I cannot atone for my mistakes with words alone, Adair. I know this now. It is why I began this journey and why I must move on. But you have come here for other answers. Why I have returned, where I am going. Am I answering to you, or to Berith? It seems someone else needs to know. One who has held me to the flames once before. Margaret fears what I will do, just as she feared what I would do in the Deerwood. But this time, there is no power on Eora or in all of hell to stop me. Understand that what I'm saying is neither a boast nor a challenge. It is the clearest statement of truth I can give you. Give Berith, in the hopes of dissuading you from taking actions that may harm others. Force gods and mortals alike to open their eyes to one another. It seems my sister does not like the sound of that. I want to return the gods to our original purpose, and to allow mortals to worship us, or ignore us, for what we are, not what we pretend to be.
Shoti gasps sharply, for once too stunned to blurt out a response. Her eyes are wild, with too much white showing, when she glances from Eothas to you.
Whatever you're doing, there's gotta be a better way.
When I entered Widewin, I did so with the intention of illuminating the history of Angwith. I wanted to show all the nations of the Eastern Reach the machines we had used to create ourselves. How we had hidden our true nature from mortals for millennia. But even if I had succeeded, my words would have been easy to deny. Belief creates the foundation upon which a mind's reality is built. Some minds can never let go of that foundation. They would rather hold tight to the world in their mind than accept what they're being told. I have not come to speak, to convince, to plead, but to break the foundations of belief itself, to extinguish the lights that maintain the illusions we have created. We took on the mantles of gods from legends, and in so doing, made real what was false, crafted truth from fiction. The time has come for a new covenant between gods and mortals. One forged in the light of truth and understanding between our kind. I will leave this place and go to the lost city the Huana call Ukaizo. It is there that all souls pass through the machines of the gods, where all souls pass into the beyond before beginning their next life. When I reach that place, I will find our great machines and tear them to pieces. I will smash the great wheel until the lights of hell all gutter and die. And when my work is done, I will leave this world forever.
More destruction. You're tearing the whole world apart because you can't make peace among yourselves.
Adair, there will never be peace among mortals, so long as they are unwittingly manipulated by the gods. The divine enslavement that Boudica reveres perpetuates ignorance, chaos, and violence across the world. I only wish to destroy the darkness that surrounds the gods, that you may better see us for what we are. I'm surprised Magrin is reacting this way. I would have thought she would appreciate a trial of this magnitude, one that tests us all. Both gods and mortals alike rely on the wheel. We depend on it for the souls that give us power. Mortals depend on it for the lives of future generations. Breaking it will force all of us to face the truth. We will fail together or move forward together. Either ending is preferable to the cycle we still find ourselves in.
Dawn, wait! Before it's too late, you gotta take the souls I harvested for you.
They are not for me to take. Shodi, you are their guardian now. You are their protector. You have taken responsibility for them, and only you can decide their fate. Once again, the gods have put you in a precarious position, Watcher. Considering all the troubles I have put you through, the least I can do is protect you from the wrath Magrin has intended for me. Perhaps I will have another opportunity to make amends. Until then, this will have to do. Brace yourself, Watcher.
Guys and gals, we are literally being touched by the hand of God right now.
Despite herself, Shodi squeals. Trembling, she sways on her feet as if she might faint.
Hey, Eothas, we're not done here. You and I, we're not finished. Don't think you can just move me aside like all the rest. Maybe you can't be stopped. But on behalf of everyone you've trampled, betrayed, and ignored, I'll be coming to see you again.
Adair spits. In the surging heat, it never reaches the ground.
Perhaps we will meet again, Adair. Until then, take care of the Watcher.
Eothas's great hand floats away from the luminous Audra pillar. As it pulls back, for a brief moment you see a golden tether flash into existence between the pillar and the great Titan's back. When the Audra fingers gently cradle you, there is first a sensation of warmth, but it is followed by a harsh splitting of consciousness. Your awareness vacillates erratically between the physical world and the spiritual dimension of Eothas's body. Your soul glides amid the many trapped with Eothas. As your brilliant form passes by them, they call and reach out for help. Below Eothas's body, the volcano erupts, Molten rock rushes over the great Audra body, but does not slow its movement. Rathun rush to higher ground, but cannot outpace the lava, which overwhelms and consumes them as it rises. Your attention returns to the heart of Eothas's body. Deep within the whirling masses of souls, you again sense your own presence, the fragment that was taken from you. This time, you reach out to it as it reaches out to you. You meet somewhere in the great mass of Audra, the rest of the souls fading at the edge of your awareness. We are together again. Are you ready to be together again? Are you certain? Since we've parted, you've become someone else, and I have become myself. When we join, we won't be ourselves anymore. Your senses yank back to your body, still in Eothas's hand. There is light, sunlight. He has emerged from Ashen Maw, the rim of the volcano and the great keep of the Rathun collapsing behind him. The Audra is barely visible through the thick lava covering his body. And still, he moves. The ocean is gone, water sucked away, leaving only the bare seabed glistening in an ominous silence. You summon the strength to turn your head. Through the cracks in the great god's fingers, you see a wall of water, taller than Nekataka, taller than Eothas, as tall as the moon. It comes with the rumbling of a terrible stampede. The wave slams into Eothas. His hand closes, protecting you from the devastation. Somewhere in your mind, you hear Andra screaming. You are back inside him. Back with yourself. Are you still the same Watcher who returned the lost souls of the Deerwood to their intended bodies? A light shines within the soul as it observes you. Waiting. I am. Good. Then this should be easy. You feel cool air, seawater. The back of your mind pulls your attention back to your body. Eothas stands amid the now calm waves. Kraken futilely clinging to his limbs as he gingerly sets down your ship with one hand. He carefully opens his other, setting your body on the deck. As your head comes to rest, your vision rocks forward, pulled back into the Audra, back to your soul. Some of us is lost to him. Fragments and the empty spaces between them. They will always be a part of him. But we are still us. And it's time for us to go. Together. The soul rushes toward you, flying into you with ferocious speed. You are thrust back through the Audra, out of the palm of Eothas's hand, back into your body. You can feel the sensation of your skin, the warmth of the Audra, but you are not fully in control. The other soul struggles to reach the surface of the body's consciousness, but you pull it down. Entangled, you float in a dark, boundless expanse. The more you fight each other, the closer you become, until somehow, impossibly, every piece of you is touching every piece of them. Through the distant window of your eyes, you see Eothas push slowly against your ship. Though his touch is light, it is still the touch of a god. The ship lurches, rapidly tearing across the water southward. His hand pulls away from your ship's wake, his body straightening, towering overhead. The volcanic rock, now cooled and gently steaming, sloughs from his body as he moves. The Audra beneath is still immaculate, unmarred. He watches you depart, and you hear a voice in your mind as you sink deeper into the blackness of sleep.
Tell them what you have witnessed, Watcher. Tell them what is coming.
The windows of your eyes retreat into the distance. The fragment of your soul is so close to you in the darkness that you can't tell if its thoughts are separate from your own. Eothas is going to Ukaizo? He's going to stop the wheel? Eothas is going to Ukaizo. Eothas is going to Ukaizo. The words repeat in your mind until they become an incessant, meaningless mantra. Involuntary meditation in the emptiness of your unconscious. When the words finally dissolve and become part of the darkness, you see a pinpoint of light. You no longer sense the other soul. No longer sense the person you were before Eothas touched you. You swim toward the light. As you come closer, the light becomes two blurry spots of radiance. You settle in behind your eyes and feel your lips already moving, mumbling. Around your body you sense familiar scents and sounds, voices raised in shock and alarm. You take control of your mouth, opening it wide and drawing a great breath.
Are we simply going to wait? What if he never wakes up?
Are those frilled collars stuffed in your ears? If the Watcher's mumblings are right, then Eothas is marching on Ukaizo. We have to move. He's seizing power from the very gods who betrayed him. Destroying the wheel to make sure they never come back. It's a coup, and we have to muster the strength to stop it.
The unraveling of Kohopa from Tangaloa is our greatest test from the gods, I say. We must live to deserve the world they make for us.
Ah, you're awake. Welcome back, Watcher. Your arrival in the wake of the eruption at Magrin's Teeth was alarming. You shared a great deal while you were asleep. We aren't sure what to make of it.
You know, every time you come back from the dead, it's a little less exciting. You gotta space it out more.
Join our talks, I say. Rational discussion will gust away the ominous smoke rising from Ashen Maw. For what else did the gods place us here? We who have ships and resources enough to make a difference.
What we need is brass. Rawatai has ships and cannons aplenty, but the only way I'm sending them is if...
Ships have formed the blockade around Queen's Berth. Their commander demands parley with Serpent's Crown.
What? But what about our ships? I must get a message through to the captains.
For what do our enemies paint a target on their hull? This is a stirring bid for my attention. Send word to my water shapers to drain the sea around the flagship. I would parley on better terms than this.
My queen! They fly the colors of pirates! The Principi are...
Well, what have we here? Forgive me, lovesome, but it looks like you're having a party. A rather fine one to which you didn't invite me.
You painted vagrants are a plague on my tribes. Why should I not hang you from the walls of my garden?
You should be asking yourself how they got in here in the first place.
Oh, I do love when they squabble. But I'm here for neither pleasantries nor entertainment. We've bigger fish to fry. Or should I say gods? Now everyone just calm down. I promise we won't fire on you at this time. Unless firstly provoked. That is, until once we've safely absconded from the city back to the high seas. Then all bets are off again, aye?
Yes, well, if you have a point, pirate, I suggest you reach it quickly.
We're supposed to take a bunch of pirates at their word?
Right you are. However, I'm here because I've got questions, ones that can't wait. And the lovesome Watcher's the only one likely to answer them nicely. Ukaizo? What's the lost city of gold got to do with a god on a rampage? Well, fuck, if that doesn't put things into perspective. But what's that even mean in the long run? Folks who die won't be coming back again. This is all dark and foreboding sounding. But what's it mean for my soul? I mean, I like the idea of pirating throughout the Great Beyond as much as the next gal. But if, say, I got no awareness after I die, does it even matter what happens?
Ak, of course you have no interest past that of your eyes and your stomach. Let us speak now of what can be done. Must be done. Watcher, you know best of all of us what our options are.
If he's heading to Ukaizo, then the time for speeches is over. We have to act quickly. Defending Ukaizo is the highest priority. Our ships are fast and well-equipped. We could sail to the edge of Andra's mortar. See if Eothas' passage opens a way through the storms. Of course, finding Ukaizo once we're through is another matter. That's so. You just might be able to save us.
We speak of collectively sailing for Andra's mortar, but this crown will not support any plan that involves a single outsider ship landing on the shores of Ukaizo. It is for this moment that the gods test me. Anyone who seeks to cross Andra's mortar will learn that the gates of Ukaizo are the end of compromise with the Huana.
I think I'm getting the gist of it now. While these witless princocks go at each other's throats, we Principi will cut through the storms and plunder the City of Gold. Whatever Eothas is seeking in those ruins, we'll find it. And then we'll sell it to the highest bidder. That, or me and mine will have front row seats to the end of the world.
If the Huana cannot take back our beginning, then our end fast approaches. The gods will judge us by our devotion to Ukaizo.
Are you going to guard it as closely as you've guarded your palace today? Ukaizo was yours once, and you lost it. Meanwhile, the storms that cover Andra's mortar plague Rauatai too. We will help the Watchers stop Eothas, but we will not leave our country's future in soft hands. We hope the Watcher agrees.
Watcher, there are two kinds of people in the Deadfire. Those who have called it home since time immemorial, and opportunists. With Ukaizo under our control, the Huana would restore order as it has not been seen since the days of our ancestors.
Ak, order. And the only question is whether it will be the order of ignorance and tradition, or else of conquest. The secrets to be found in Ukaizo could elevate us all beyond the telling. I will not relinquish that dream so easily.
Watcher, I say the time to play at freelancing is at an end. Any of us could get you to Ukaizo, but only one of us will stand by your side.
Let's speak, Watcher, while we have the chance.
You find yourself in cold, suffocating darkness. There is a familiar weight in your hand. A lantern. It sputters to life, and the world shifts into focus. A staircase spirals endlessly below you. With nowhere else to go, you start down. A wave of blistering heat hits you. Then a sea salt wind. Divine voices boom and screech. Their words shake the platform beneath you, shake the very air around you. The gods are fighting.
Lay your blame elsewhere, Wodica. I won't suffer your arguments any longer.
Mogren looms large before you, an accusing finger leveled at the melted visage of Wodica. Wodica screws her mouth into a sneer.
You fool! If only we had attacked him when I first proposed it.
Accusations drip bitter as bile from her tongue.
You would dare interrupt me?
Wodica extends a hand, looking for a moment like she intends to swat you from the platform. But the pallid knight gives her a long, impassive look, and at last, she jerks her hand away. The pallid knight looks down at you, a frown etched deep in her otherwise statue-still features.
I am afraid we are not at our best.
The Watcher's returned. Perhaps we should hear what he has to say.
Helia's birds chatter anxiously among themselves. Wal's many eyes alight on each god in turn.
We make little enough progress on our own.
We try, but agreement eludes us.
Andra's storm-dark eyes swivel to meet yours.
Is there nothing we can do?
Mogren glances at the pallid knight from the corner of her eye. After a thoughtful pause, she speaks.
The time has come for us to seize the power we have long left untouched, and absorb our scattered children.
Andra nods, her lure bobbing bright.
Terrible though it would be, perhaps you are right.
I did, and I was scolded like a child for my terrible audacity.
A curl of steam rises from her nose. The pallid knight looks on, impassive.
Should we be killed, we may possess the bodies of our godlike children. Or should we face a force too powerful to stand against, we can absorb their souls, granting us additional strength. Helia's wayward daughter, yes, she would die. Her and thousands of others.
The pallid knight speaks with the chilly temperance, possessed only by the god of death.
We are your gods, forged of thousands upon thousands of willing souls sacrificed on the altar of progress. Yes, our good is greater, but the time for that plan has long passed us by.
Are we to keep nothing for ourselves? Not a single secret retained? Not a solitary mystery?
Mogren elbows one of Wal's floating eyes away.
Eothas will lay bare our every secret soon enough. What is one or two revealed now? But we get ahead of ourselves. First, the Watcher must get to Kaizo, and that will be a trial all its own.
Mogren smiles.
You might change your mind when you stand before it.
The Guardian of Ukaizo has stood watch over that place for millennia. It will not stand aside, not even for Bareth's herald.
Helia, who had been lost in quiet, anxious conversation with her birds, breaks in.
It yet lives.
Of course. Our progenitors crafted it.
A pair of Helia's finches come to join Wal's floating eye. They hover just out of Mogren's reach and swoop in to poke her when she's not looking.
And the Watcher will be forced to reckon with it if he wishes to confront Eothas.
The birds at last linger too long, and Mogren slaps them away. They burst into a cloud of essence, then reform, and fly in a screeching chorus back to Helia.
A creature crafted by the Ingwithans to protect the machinery of reincarnation. It doesn't care much for visitors.
Will you divulge our every secret to the Kith, Mogren?
Mogren shrugs.
If it suits me.
Go prepared, Watcher. The Guardian will not stand aside, not even for the Herald of Bareth.
Where's the challenge in that?
Mogren's black teeth shine.
You met my challenge at the Searing Falls without hesitation, after all. And when Firga faltered, you restored her faith in me.
There is another topic we have yet to address.
The Pallid Knight holds up one gauntleted hand, and the other gods fall silent.
Tell me, Watcher, where do you stand? What do you think of Eothas' scheme to destroy the wheel?
The Pallid Knight spreads wide her hands.
Think of the beyond as a reservoir, the in-between as storm clouds, and souls as rain. When a living thing dies, its soul enters the in-between. And when the in-between grows full, it releases souls into the beyond, where they wait to be redistributed to new bodies, new lives. The wheel is the process by which souls are moved from the in-between to the beyond, from the rain cloud to the reservoir, and from the reservoir into the living world. Without the wheel to mediate the transfer and redistribution of souls, the souls of all who die remain in the in-between. And without souls to fill it, the beyond gradually empties, trapping all of the remaining souls in existence in the in-between. When the beyond is empty and the last creature on Eora dies, that is the end of everything. It is Rimergon's future, the one he wants for us. Soul essence sustains us. We feed off it, off the little fragments you mortal kith shed like snakeskin as you pass into your next life. Without sustenance, we starve as any mortal might. We die and leave a great silence behind, an eternal emptiness from which nothing is born. How can we not? We are each of us beholden to our natures. It is how we made ourselves, just as you are bound by the choices you've made.
Tell us, Watcher, where do you stand?
Wal laughs with the voice of thousands.
What form might our guidance take? And whose guidance would it be? Surely it will be amusing, whatever the result.
Eothas loves the mortals more than any of us. He has always been their greatest champion. He believes Kith will rise to his challenge. I am not so sure, but I look forward to watching them try. He found our blind spot and exploited it admirably. By the time we even had a hint of what it was he intended, it was already too late to stop him.
If we still had our bodies, we could oppose him.
Woedica balls her bony hands into fists and glares long at Andra.
Do not lay your blame on me. We set them aside after I killed Abaddon, it is true, but you did not fight the decision then.
She turns her back on Woedica then, and looks instead to the Pallid Knight.
What if Eothas is right, and Kith succeed in rebuilding the wheel? What then?
Wal's many eyes bounce and blink in quiet delight.
That would be quite amusing indeed.
And what if they fail? Then they die. And so do we. We have to help them.
Helia's voice rises, near to panic. Woedica drives her fist into her hand.
Help them! We should finally bring them to heel!
The Pallid Knight raises a hand and stares at Woedica until she falls silent.
Watcher, Eothas yet values your counsel.
The Pallid Knight's eyes bore into yours.
An impassioned plea from the Hound of Eothas may still temper his actions. Confront him at Ukaizo. The future of Kith and the gods rests on your shoulders, Watcher, so I hope that you do.
The Pallid Knight's stern countenance softens.
Time moves swiftly away from us now.
The Pallid Knight spreads her hands before her.
Go, Watcher. Do what you must.
The edges of your vision begin to dim. Like a sun setting, twilight encroaches on your mind.
You will not fail.
The pallid night conjures a blinding white light in her palm that swiftly grows to engulf the room. Then, the crack of thunder rends the air, and you feel the floor drop out beneath you. You come to flat on your back, staring at an all too familiar ceiling. Alone, once again.
Ak, 1,000 swoles he offered me. I should have charged 10 times that.
Payment for igniting Rawatai's stockpile of black powder. Do we have that correct, Andakio?
Ak, it is so, Highness.
Did Bereth give you the authority to dispense law in my court? Do not ruin this for us. Director, you stand between Wodika's justice and Tangaloa's open mouth. Has the time come to amend your statement?
With respect, Your Highness, these charges are absurd. If that man is being paid, it is not from my pocket.
You expect us to believe that? This reeks of gutless Valian subterfuge.
Peace, Hazanui. I invited the Watcher here as a witness, and I dare anyone to find a more credible source. Watcher, please state your name for the Kahanga court. Did you witness the explosion at the Brass Citadel? Akira, then it is as I told our guests before.
Then let's get on with it. I want to know what the Watcher saw.
This is madness. Queen Onakaza, I would never do anything to threaten the peace between our people.
Worry not, Hazanui. Under this roof, facts are the coin of the realm. Tell us what you saw, Watcher.
What? No, that's not... This is some manner of jest. Watcher, tell her.
I knew it! Release this snake to me, Queen. I want to see Rawatayan justice done.
That will be enough, Hazanui. This was an attack on my city, and it falls to the Huana to judge the sentence.
No! You cannot do this! The Songrette, the Republics will...
Considering the disgraces on your head, I say not even the Republics will bother to defend you. You are to be stripped of rank and sent to the gullet for your remaining years. May the bowels of Tangaloa scour the taint of guilt from your soul.
What? You cannot be serious!
An ugly business, I say, but it is done.
Done? I've still got dead to bury and a district to rebuild. This is just the beginning for me.
You are entitled to some recompense, Hazanui. The Director's holdings rightfully belong to you.
That'll certainly get me started.
Then the matter is resolved. After so much struggle, it was a moment's work to cripple a nation. The difference means little, and your honesty, Akira, refreshing. Join me in the garden. I would speak of our future in detail.
Yes, indeed. I shall make it so.
I'm not going to kill whack him any harder!
Just like that.
That's right.
Yes.
That dog won't hunt.
Not even close.
Spot on. Finish them! Got to try something else.
Just like that.
This thing isn't doing the job.
It's even scarier than in my dreams. I'm not sure I can.
Gilded Vale got its name from the way the wheat fields used to look in the sun. But this place really is gilded. Might as well be a different world. Well, hard to miss what you can barely remember. All I know is my life took a turn when this world came stomping into mine. These great people got a funny way of passing on. They disappear from the world, but leave their problems behind for the rest of us to deal with. I guess maybe that's one good thing that's come out of this. Well, at least for me. I got something to do with my life that doesn't involve hauling or shoveling. The whole world's about to face the biggest test it ever saw. What Eothas is doing, it's gonna change everything. You may not survive. Kith, I mean. You know, I broke a wheel once too. First thing I thought of when we learned what Eothas was doing. My mom had this spinning wheel, and she loved it. Well, I was playing with it in the way a young child might when his parents are out, and that wheel came right off. It wouldn't go back into place, so I pushed it harder, and pretty soon I'd broken off a spoke. Broke off 3 more trying to fix that. Anyway, I got whipped pretty good for it. That wheel was never the same, even after my dad fixed it. I used to think of the gods as being like parents to all of us. And now I know better. They're children, playing while their folks are gone.
5 years ago, you controlled the destiny of thousands of souls in Sun and Shadow. But the choice you make today shall define the fate of every living thing in Eora. And to think of all the times I've asked you the same question. I suppose if it were up to me, I'd want to ensure that Kith are free to define their own future. To triumph or fail by our own decisions. But it isn't up to me. I know you'll choose wisely. And no matter what happens, it's been an honor journeying with you. Again.
We gonna do this or what? We've made it this far, yet we're still alive. Might as well square off with my god before our luck runs dry. I'll hold you to that. It didn't work so good at Mogren's Teeth, now. But sure, we can try to sway my god's will again. Well, if anyone could do it, I reckon it'd be you. Tell me, Watcher, can there be a god of light and birth if souls themselves can no longer be reborn? I thought it'd be different how it turned out, but I couldn't dream of any other way. Now then, shall we go face my god for one last time? Find out what it is we can or can't do in these end times. Whether we're meant to wither or thrive. Consider me your second shadow.
The machine controlling the storm winds down. The clattering of its machinery settles into a low whir and then, at last, hiccups to a halt. Beyond the tower, the black, roiling clouds of Andra's mortar roll away from the ancient city of Ukaizo, with only a tired sigh of wind to see them off. And on that last breath of wind, comes to you a familiar sound. The ring of a bell. The bell's ringing is soft, not the clangor and torrent you've grown used to. It calls to your soul, and your soul yearns to follow it. Your soul flees from your body and into the beyond, chasing that sound. It leads you at last to Bareth's realm, to that cold platform and room of endless doors.
Watcher, your journey nears its conclusion.
The pallid night stands before you, her gaunt face impassive.
You rush headlong toward the end. Do you ever pause to consider where it is you are headed? Soon you will confront Eothas for what will likely be the final time, and you will do so as the Herald of Bareth, the only creature on the face of Eora to whom he will listen. Remember that.
The pallid night inclines her head to you, black hair hanging limp in her face. She steps back and cedes the floor to Helia with a small, resigned sigh.
If Eothas truly intends to go through with his mad plan to destroy the wheel, a generation's worth of souls will be trapped in the in-between. So many would suffer. How can Eothas be so cruel? He cannot just abandon them. Eothas must help the Kith find a quick solution.
Abaddon strides forward.
Eothas thrust this crisis on the Kith. They did not bring it upon themselves. Their only mistake was entrusting us to watch over them. Who will help them rebuild their world now?
Eothas will reveal every secret of the gods. Will Kith be able to change the established order if they have no wonder to inspire them? Eothas must help them resolve this quickly, lest every one of Eora's few remaining mysteries be laid plain.
You have misgivings. Good. You should be wary of any help Eothas might offer you. With the wheel destroyed, Kith will tear themselves apart. It is the gods' duty to prevent that happening, lest they doom us all. And as Kith must be ruled, so too must the gods. I say that if Eothas is so eager to throw down the mantle of power and step aside, I shall take my rightful place as Queen of the Gods again.
Kith are strongest when they follow our lead, and we are strongest when we lead in turn. United in purpose with the gods, Kith can accomplish things that without us, they could never have even begun. They must be shown their boundaries to surpass them.
Kith will not solve Eothas' puzzle on their own. And without an established order to fight against, the bonds that bind them dissolve, and they fight amongst themselves.
Boudica's firm hand is but the motherly smothering of Helia by another name. Mortals should have no special advantages. Only once Kith have striven to improve themselves through trial will they truly know their measure. Kith must suffer to find their strength if they are to survive the world into which Eothas drags them. Our intervention in your struggle would be a cruelty and counter to our purpose.
He lets his words hang in the air for a moment. Gaze, level with your own.
Indeed. Kith must discover for themselves what it is they are worth, and of what it is they are capable. What we do for them, they do not learn for themselves. Trial breeds ingenuity. If our work of generations was not in vain, Kith will succeed in spite of Eothas' actions. I have faith in Kith's ability to meet Eothas' challenge. Do not mistake my words for indifference, Watcher. They are born from a fierce belief in your potential.
And yet you come to Ukaizo with only the Huana at your back. All that Kith stand to lose. And even then, your leaders could not join hands, squabbling instead over prestige and resources. You believe that will change when my final death comes calling? You are a greater fool than I thought. Margaret is blinded by her affection for mortals. She does not see that entropy is the destiny of all things. If Eothas were wise, he would destroy everything. End life, end reincarnation, end death. Kith have had their chance. It is time to let silence reign.
As Rimmergon's words fade, the Pallid Knight returns. She no longer towers over you, a giant even among the gods, but meets you at your height. She lets the arms crossed over her chest fall to her sides. She speaks to you openly, plainly, an expression almost like tenderness, turning up the corners of her lips.
Well, Watcher, you know where we stand. What do you believe?
The Pallid Knight raises one dark eyebrow.
I did not conjure the wheel as you know it now from the air. It was built slowly, with great deliberation by Kith. It is as much your wheel as mine. Now the time has come for us to part, Watcher. I laid upon you a difficult duty, and I know you desire to be free of it. You will be in time, but not now. You have work to do yet. You are no stranger to hard choices. You killed Theos, and when his soul was laid bare before you, you chose to destroy his memories. You freed him from his past. Remember the strength it took to make that choice, and know that you alone may sway Eothas now. When you stand before him, choose your words carefully.
The gods depart one by one in brooding silence. A solitary figure remains perfectly still until the last of her colleagues is out of earshot. Wodica peers down at you, a triumphant grin splitting her weathered features.
Bareth is a fool if she thinks I'll let her enjoy the last word. You were trusted with a heavy responsibility, Watcher. Speaking for mortals, and representing their interests in the future to come. You weren't wrong to trust the Huana. They built their society to last, but that hasn't stopped their tribes from buckling under the pressure of foreign occupation. How many of her people did Queen Onakaze imperil while she placated her enemies? How close did her simpleton brother come to drawing his weapon at every negotiation? Then there's the deplorable incident at the Powder House. And yet, they have earned your confidence in a gamble that could decide the fate of all mortals. Why is that? Uh-huh. Consider my curiosity appeased. For now, in our grandest plans, you are a singularly unpredictable variable. You play a dangerous game by investing your hope in others. Deception and failure are woven into the fabric of mortals. I can safely promise that they will disappoint you before long. I look forward to watching the bright cheer fade from your eyes under cold, unforgiving reality. Whether you heeded my wisdom or not, everything you've done to get this far has informed our view of mortal kind. I hope you're satisfied with your performance. We've learned much from each other. Nothing could convince me that mortals are equipped to steward their future. Your efforts to prove me wrong were admirable, and my detractors will likely use your example to oppose my rule. The Huana may reign over this archipelago for now, but Eora is vaster than they know. A difficult road lies ahead of me. Your alliances have made proving my argument an uphill battle. Well done, I suppose. Eothas will no doubt have a sunnier outlook on mortals and their chances of success. He already has everything he wants, so go and listen to his empty-headed idealism. The rest of us will be sharpening our blades, preparing for the future he lays out for us.
You keep falling asleep on me, I'm gonna have to start walking behind you with a pillow. Oh, by the way, the storm's gone. Also, I think Eothas has ended the world. It seems we're all still here.
Gods and darnation. My head.
So now it comes to this, Aimiko. You think to steal my golden dream, but I will not allow it to happen. My gratitude is yours for disabling the storms. It seems I did not require Rivan's ship to reach Ukaizo in the end. You jest in the face of your death, huh? Allow me to admit how grandly I will enjoy ending you. Until the next life? Nor perhaps not, considering.
Say
your prayers!
May I be a candle in the night.
Oh, that's not it.
Ixie on us!
Enough! Let us end this!
Lavaru beyond sick.
Just like that.
Lavaru beyond sick.
Yeah? Uh-huh.
You descend into the ancient winding streets of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the god's great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine. As you approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Eothas. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms. An immense Anguithan machine floats above the monument, suspended by invisible energy emanating from a well of light beneath it. Great brass rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Eothas's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine. The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra. Intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries, the pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine. The pillar levels out near Eothas's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Eothas's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
Strange to see Ukaizo in this way. It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Huana, yes, but also Kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo.
If we don't fix this mess you're about to cause, the whole world is gonna look this bad. I mean, it's a mighty heavy load you're putting on our shoulders. I just hope we can carry it.
As long as there are people like you in this world, Adair, I truly do. This power has always been in the grasp of mortals. Now you will finally be aware of it. Now you will be able to decide what to do with it.
Gon, please, I'm begging you. What do I do following this? How am I to best serve those still living, to improve our future chances of survival?
The Deadfire and the Eastern Reach are full of animancers, women and men with brilliant minds who can solve this great problem. They will also need people with brilliant souls, like you, Shodi. People who can tend to the spiritual needs of the world in a time of fear and desperation. Remember, the flame you bear is not only light, but warmth. Provide comfort to all who need it.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long. One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power. But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel? Mortals are already inspired. It is what has pushed them on for hundreds of generations to reach this point in time. Animancy is poised to go far beyond what we Ingwithans ever discovered. Why does Helia think I should lend more power to mortals? As do I. From where should mortals draw their inspiration? Very well, Watcher. I will ensure that mortals are inspired by my passing, that my power not be expended in vain. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about Eora, about Kith, that I can only learn through your eyes. You followed me all this way, dodging an armada, navigating an impenetrable wall of storms, voyaging across uncharted seas, with the machinations of gods echoing in your ears, all the while trusting in the institutions of Kith to get you this far, and earning their trust in turn. Whatever else happens this day, that much is remarkable. I believe that mortals possess the strength to collaborate and shape a future of their own design. Not all of my brothers and sisters agree. By relying on others and coming together in a time of crisis, you illustrate my point. The gods will witness you and question their assumptions about how responsible, empathetic, and sophisticated mortals can be. What inspired your decision, Watcher? Did the choice echo your foundational beliefs? Or were you influenced by observation? Boudica has been especially active since the downfall of her favorite operative. Have you ever considered that she is mentoring his replacement? My brothers and sisters never act when the gains are strictly short-term. If Boudica's shadow has fallen upon you, that can only mean she recognizes your potential to further her ambition. I thank you for your perspective. Yours is not the only opinion that concerns me, but for the moment, it offers much to consider. All I ever wanted for mortals was growth, transformation. Once, my brothers and sisters shared this goal. Some have forgotten themselves, giving in to fatalism or tyranny. Others have succumbed to apathy. It brings me great sorrow that crisis is the only way to set the future in motion. Would that I could pass the responsibility of heralding your darkest hour to another. Never forget that trust and coordination between mortals brought you to this place. Your future is built on a foundation of hope, and you have laid the first stone. I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it. You are free now, as free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you, but always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Eothas squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fists back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Eothas draws power from the luminous Audra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Audra across Ukaizo. As the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength, so too does Eothas's body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Audra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Eothas does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted, the machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Eothas stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Eothas drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Audra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Eothas's arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes. As Eothas's shout echoes throughout the valley, your eyes begin to recover. The gods' work is accomplished. The great machine of Ukaizo has been destroyed. The wheel has been unmade. As Eothas' voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Eothas. On your recommendation, Eothas disperses his essence, and that of the thousands of souls within him, to centers of knowledge and learning around the world. Animancers, engineers, wizards, and scholars of all stripes make astounding breakthroughs in understanding and harnessing the phenomena that govern Eora. While some of these developments prove beneficial to Kith, others are decidedly less so. But such is the price of innovation. What remains to be seen is how, indeed whether, they will restore the cycle Eothas has broken. Reclaiming Ukaizo is both a symbolic and a practical victory for the Huana. The ancient city is a potent reminder of their people's ancient glory, and it promises to be a much more easily defensible capital, especially with the storm controls of Andra's Spire close at hand. The other tribes unite under the Kahanga and dedicate themselves to rebuilding Ukaizo and relearning its secrets. The Valian Trading Company continues its operations in Deadfire, though it is forced to renegotiate many of its contracts with the newly empowered Huana Crown. Company leadership finds that the new terms are much more favorable to the tribes than to their own interests in the region. Due to these changes, the Valian Trading Company eventually withdraws most of its people from Deadfire. The Royal Deadfire Company is allowed to continue trading in the archipelago, though they are forced to submit most of their outposts and fortifications to Huana leadership. The storms across the Rawatayan mainland subside along with those of Andra's mortar. However, Rawatai regards this respite with a wary eye, ever mindful that the machinery at Andra's Spire remains under their foes' control. The battle at Andra's mortar leaves the fleet of the Principe Sen Patrena in shambles. Thus sundered, they fight among each other until they are little more than squabbling bands of pirates. They continue to harass unguarded merchant vessels, but they are fit for little more. Gone are the dreams of empire and the hunger for primacy. Despite other tensions across the archipelago, Port Maje remains a model of peaceful, productive cooperation between the Huana and the Valian Trading Company. Though they do not always agree, Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa work together for the mutual benefit of their people. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. Though the Kahanga monarchy moves its new seat of government to Ukaizo, Nekataka continues to be a busy and important city. The pirates continue smuggling food into the gullet, and the Raparu embrace their benefactors, aiding and concealing their smuggling operations. Over time, the gullet becomes a hotbed of piracy. Ukaizo reveals more about the ancient art of water shaping than the guild could have hoped to learn in another century of work. With this new knowledge, water shapers across the archipelago wield the currents and bend the waves for the pleasure and benefit of the new Huana nation. The faith of the children of the Dawnstars brightens. Eothas returned to give the world the greatest gift of all, hope. In response, they continue feeding, healing, and helping the neediest in Deadfire, just as they have for decades. It remains their holy mission, and they will persevere in love and faith. Ships continue to disappear at the southeastern fringe of the archipelago, and stories circulate of a colony of vampires and gulls preying on their crews. The Queen soon sends a contingent of her bravest warriors who end the horrors of Splintered Reef. The Deadflow, an iceberg in the southern sea, continues to grow unchecked. As the ice spreads, so too do wild tales of a hideous dragon rampaging across the Deadfire. Word spreads of the primal island of Kazuwari, once home to an arena that hosted bloody competitions and fearsome ordeals. Wild tales whisper that the spilled blood attracted a terrible beast of scale and fang that slaughtered those gathered at the island before destroying the great enchanted statue that oversaw the island's trials. Absent its guiding voice, Kazuwari descends into anarchy. A vast monstrosity of tentacles and flesh erupts from the Black Isles in the eastern Deadfire, before vanishing into the depths. None know what drives the titanic beast, nor where it will appear next, or what destruction it might wreak when it rises. Though your adventures alter the destiny of Eora and the balance of power in Deadfire, they also leave a lasting mark on those who travel at your side. Your companions find themselves changed, in ways both big and small. In the days sailing back from Ukaizo, Adair finds himself disillusioned with all gods, his own above all. Where the gods have touched Deadfire, he sees only destruction, loss, and emptiness. He casts off all symbols of Eothas, and even begins refusing to use his name. Ultimately, he chooses to remain with you on the Defiant, knowing if any mortal is to have the final word in a conflict with the gods, it will be the Watcher of Cadnua. Shodi is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Adair painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter. Early in your travels, Adair appears discomforted by her persistent flirting. He often grimaces when she sidles up to him, and he takes endless pains to keep their conversations terse and to the point. But after a little smoothing on your part to nudge them in the right direction, Adair makes an effort to view Shodi with an open mind. And Shodi begins teasing the veteran fighter in a more companionable and less amorous manner. After saving each other's hides a couple times and sharing more than a few laughs, the two form an easy, and you suspect, lifelong friendship. Shodi's journey through the Deadfire on your ship is an eye-opening experience for the sheltered farm girl. After many souls harvested, more lives aided, and much adventure had, the priestess declares her intent to rejoin her fellow missionaries at the Temple of Gon in Nekataka. Following a shy grin and an overzealous handshake, Shodi leaves you with an open invitation to visit her anytime. It is some months later when she pens you a missive. Can you hardly believe it? Her chicken scratch handwriting reads. Saw when sailing for distant lands. She's leaving me in charge of the temple. I've been named the High Priestess of Gon. Aloth renews his commitment to destroying the Leaden Key. With the wheel broken, loosening the god's stranglehold on Kith is more urgent than ever. It is a lofty goal, and one he does not expect to finish in his lifetime. But if there's one thing he's learned from the Watcher, it's that a single person can change the world. Seraphin seems little impacted by your journey. Always knew the gods were larger than me, he tells you, on the evening he decides to part from your company. He's too long put aside those he cares most for. He confesses over a bottle of rum, and he's got leagues to sail to make it right. The following morning, he's gone, leaving only a crude stick figure rendering of Eothas, scrawled into the hull to mark his passage. After reporting back to her superiors for the Watcher's actions against the Valian Trading Company, Pallegina is rewarded with reassignment home to the Valian Republics. She spends the next several years as the head of the household guard for the Duke of Ancense. In this role, she is often lauded for her courage and loyalty. Even with all of the praise, there are still times when she cannot help but feel she could have had more influence on what transpired in the Deadfire. Pleased with the Navy's conduct throughout the Deadfire campaign, Maya returns to active duty. She can find a free drink and a sharp salute anywhere she goes in Rawatayan territory. In recognition of her performance, the Navy attempts to give Maya less strenuous work. She flatly refuses, throwing herself into the fray whenever she can. Her rifle never has time to cool. She looks forward to seeing her brother again. So does Ashiza. Takehu distances himself from the problems of the Deadfire, giving the tribes a reprieve from godlike omens. And Gati's silence speaks volumes. The Huana grow to rely on each other, paving a new way forward divorced from their traditions. Soon after he departs Nekataka, distant tribes report of unusual and salacious water sculptures appearing on the shores. These quaint visitations are widely celebrated, the identity of the artist ever an open question. He bids you farewell, suggesting that you seek your next adventure in a brothel or tavern, where consequences begin and end at the front door. He sounds eager to leave old conflicts in the past. Your pursuit of Eothas and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed. Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo, Kith turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond, and at the world they will fashion for themselves. As the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Bareth, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home. You hope for calm weather.